team was looking for some redemption against NC State. Spoiler alert, it was ugly with a capital U. It was a mix of bad offense, invisible defense, and questionable officiating. Going into the second quarter down 6-0, the Tar Heels got one touchdown on the board, but in return gave up 20 points to go down 26-7 entering halftime. In the third, it was more of the same, with the Heels going punch for punch with State, with each team scoring 13 points. However, with Carolina driving late in the fourth, looking for momentum, Drake May threw the game-sealing interception off a deflection, and UNC fell 39-20. A once promising season is in disarray.
No, we had a whole lot of people hurt, so we didn't put pads on, and that obviously wasn't a good decision. I mean, we couldn't practice because we had so many people banged up. We didn't know how many we were going to have ready to play tonight, and but that's not an excuse. It's late in the year, so it's part of the deal.
Landon, I heard that Carolina didn't practice all week with pads on. I mean, there was no aggression, and if you ask me, I think that started with practice.
Caroline, all throughout last week, no pads, and on Saturday, it showed in a big way. They weren't physical enough. They weren't dominant enough on offense. They couldn't run the ball, and they just couldn't do anything offensively.
And I expected big things from Amarion Hampton leading the team, and I didn't receive any of that at all.
Yeah, Amarion, also known as Big O, was moving that train all year long, and it stopped in Raleigh. It was just too much Raleigh traffic, I guess, Caroline.
Well, it was really backed up, but thank you. Let's go now to football analyst Rachel Kivlin on Routes with Rachel. Rachel, atrocious is a word that comes to mind. For the second year in a row, the back half of the season has been a disaster.
Caroline, do you know a quarterback or wide receiver who wants to look like a top draft pick? Well, tell them to come on down and play against Carolina, where our defense is guaranteed to make you shine. At least that was the case against State, whose QB Brennan Armstrong had as good of a performance as ever against a defense that was playing an entirely different game. The UNC defense gave up big plays on nearly every drive and looked lost, letting State move the ball at will, even on simple plays. Watch this. It's going to be an inside ISO or isolation route. And what they're doing is the full block is designed to block this linebacker here, and the defense is going to be trying to play very aggressively in downfield as the offense is going to be curving them inward and trying to push them all on one side. It's a textbook offensive play to let them run. And watch this, the defense did just not isolate this route here. And they were able to just completely run through time and time again. This was a play that was repeated, and the State kept moving the chains. We saw this, again, many times playing soft. And you can't entirely blame the defense either, because against the Wolfpack, Carolina abandoned any sort of plan offensively. In arguably the worst offensive performance all year, UNC had 4 3-and-outs and a 4-play possession in the first 5 drives. Drake May completed all of 1 pass in the first half, and Omarion Hampton managed a season-low 28 yards on a season-low 9 attempts, losing his 6 consecutive 100-yard rushing games. Why? They were killed at the line of scrimmage offensively, and the coverage on Drake, no matter how good he is, was matched pathetically by the line. Everyone is mad, and no one has answers. That's the tale of UNC football, one we've seen time and time again. Caroline.
Rachel, at the end of the season, how is it possible that players are still confused about where to line up, while others are good for at least 1 holding and 1 false start penalty per game?
Caroline, the answer is a complete lack of discipline. They looked lost, honestly, and were playing entirely disinterested against a rival. And fans are left heartbroken knowing they're losing a generational talent in May following a sloppy loss like this.
As complete a loss as you can have, that's football analyst Rachel Kivlin.
Last week, we celebrated Thanksgiving, and one thing I'm thankful for is UNC men's soccer being relevant this year. After playing its best soccer of the season, UNC hosted Xtra in a Sweet 16 matchup Sunday night on Dorrance Field. There was little offensive creativity early on from both sides. However, goalie Andrew Cortez came up with this big save midway through the first half. But immediately, Xtra came out with this shot to take the lead 1-0. But the Heels would have a header from Ahmad Al-Kwak off a cross to tie things up. The Lions roared back for another goal to take the lead before half. The second half was quiet, and the game was slipping away for the Heels until this beautiful goal off of Quincy Ehrman's free kick. With no overtime scoring, the Heels and Lions went to PKs. Cortez came up with a big save to set up Andrew Check for the game-winning kick. The Heels advance to the Elite Eight. For more about the men's soccer team's improved play in the postseason, let's go to Caroline's Corner with men's soccer analyst Caroline Routh. Caroline.
Landon, get out of your seat, get on your feet, let's get some music going because the Tar Heels are still dancing. High-stakes games are about minimizing mistakes, but mistakes happen, so you have to manage your response. Over here, we're going to see Matt Edwards. He's going to take a poor touch, try to pass it back to UNC defense. Hofstra's going to receive the ball and have an easy shot on goal. But what do you do when you're down? Well, you respond. UNC is then going to turn the game around. They're down 1 goal right now, but they're going to level the score with this easy header goal going into 2-2 with 5 minutes left in the game. Where else do we see the Tar Heels respond to their mistakes? Well, in PKs. The Heels fell in PKs during the ACC Championship, but they made some changes so they wouldn't make that mistake again. As a goalie, making even 1 save during PKs means that you've done your job. In the ACC Championship, Quinn Clausen was in goal for the Heels, and he couldn't make a save. Now, PKs happen very quickly. The goalies often have to commit to diving to a side before the ball is even kicked. You can study your opponent and know what side they like to go to, but sometimes all it takes is a gut instinct to win the game. Andrew Cortez, he played it confident. He played 90 minutes plus 2 overtimes in goal, and he was ready. He barked at each and every opponent before they kicked. He was able to talk the talk and walk the walk as he made this game-winning save.
Caroline, men's soccer is headed to the Elite Eight, where they'll play Oregon State, which just upset SMU 7-1. What should we expect from the Heels?
Landon, this team keeps defying our expectations. They're learning from their mistakes, and they're playing with grit. Anything can happen during tournament time, and I think the Heels can fight their way through any battle.
Thanks, Caroline.
The women's soccer team took on BYU in snowy Provo, Utah Friday night with a spot in the Final Four on the line. It was an early start for the Tar Heels. Allie Sentnor sent the ball in from the corner for Macy Bell to head it right into the corner of the net. The Heels headed into halftime leading the game 3-0, with their 3rd goal being from Sentnor's kick from outside of the box. That found its way over the goalie into the net. The second half was a completely different game, with BYU scoring its first goal in the 61st minute. From there followed back-to-back goals with less than 10 minutes remaining, with BYU tying the game. The Tar Heels just couldn't hold their ground. Olivia Katoa took 1 touch to her left at the top of the box and found the right low corner around Emmy Allen. Momentum is key, and the Tar Heels didn't have enough, falling to the Cougars 4-3 to end their season and their tournament run. It looks like the Falcons versus the Patriots in the Super Bowl, but it was the soccer version. Let's send it over to the other Caroline for Soccer on the Daily to see how the Heels managed to blow a 3-0 lead. Caroline?
Caroline, heartbreaking can't even begin to describe the end of this game for the Heels, but they put themselves in this position. During the past 2 years in the tournament games, once this team gets a lead, they get tight, play too conservative, and quite frankly, they don't play their true brand of soccer for 90 minutes. They then blow leads they have no business losing. First, let's take a look at the BYU game from this weekend. This is one of 2 goals from Allie Sentnor. Look at the numbers here. There's 7 players for UNC in frame past half field. This allows UNC to maintain possession, drive toward the goal, and Allie Sentnor, she's going to take a left-footed shot to put them up 2-0 early on in this game. The Heels had a 3-0 lead by the 20th minute of the game, but this is when disaster struck. Again, look at the numbers here for UNC. There's 9 players behind the half field. This allows BYU to set up their offense, and now they're going to drive toward the goal. And Olivia Katoa, she's going to take a massive shot, get the ball in the back of the net with only a minute and a half left, and this won the game for them, ending the Heels' promising season. This isn't the first time that this has happened. Unfortunately, this seems to be a consistent theme for the Tar Heels. I want to look at the championship game against UCLA last year. Heels fans, cover your eyes. The Heels have a 2-0 lead with only 15 minutes remaining. They then gave up a goal with 10 minutes left to make it 2-1. With only 16 seconds left, and it's the same story. The Heels parked the bus too early, playing too conservatively, and letting UCLA maintain possession to get this goal to tie the game and send it to overtime. The game ended in a devastating double overtime where UCLA scored this goal to win the national championship. This type of play cost the Heels Title 23 in 2022 and once again in 2023.
Caroline, that loss was stunning and definitely part of the pattern that you talked about. Can the once dominant Heels make another run at a national title next year?
The Heels had the team to win the title the past 2 years, but lost those chances. One of their star defenders, Macy Bell, is leaving since she's a fifth year. However, they have Allie Sentinel returning along with some great young players, Savvy King and Evelyn Shores. But this is about more than who's on the field.
Thanks, Caroline. We were in elementary school the last time the Heels won the title. It looks like we'll have to wait a little longer for women's soccer to do it again.
Women's soccer isn't totally depressing this week. Former UNC soccer star and alum Brianna Pinto is still making an impact and name for UNC. Here's Anna Lively.
Brianna Pinto was the youngest player in the modern era to earn a tournament roster spot for the senior women's national team at only 16 years old. She also won the 2015 North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year before heading to Carolina, where she was a 3-time first-team All-ACC midfielder for the Tar Heels and learned core values like working hard, being positive, and treating everyone with respect from Anson Dorrance.
The biggest life lessons were the 13 core values that we had here at the University of North Carolina and the women's soccer program. Because our team was fixated around those 13 core values, I think we were really well-rounded individuals.
She now competes for the North Carolina Courage. She also has her own foundation called the Pinto Football Foundation, where she helps provide youth soccer athletes from underserved areas access to soccer clinics, equipment, and more. She has started calling UNC soccer games this fall, bringing a new perspective to the booth.
I think Brianna's ability to mesh her knowledge and passion for the sport of soccer with being personable gives her a major advantage in the broadcasting field.
Brianna didn't shy away from sharing her lofty goals.
For me, I want to win an NWSL championship. I want to play in Champions League and win that. I want to win a World Cup and an Olympics, and I also would love to win the Ballon d'Or award.
Brianna's hopes of representing the U.S. women's national team in the future and making a difference on the next generation of young soccer players through her foundation. I'm Anna Lively reporting.
Brianna continues to have her eyes set on representing Team USA in the future and representing her foundation as a nationwide Community Impact Award ambassador. Wherever you spent Thanksgiving vacation, I promise UNC men's basketball went somewhere better. The team spent Thanksgiving break with the Dolphins in the Bahamas. If you can't be with your family, that's not a bad alternative. The game against Northern Iowa was close throughout most of the first half, as UNC forced 10 turnovers, but were out-rebounded and dominated in the paint 18-10. Carolina's defense in the first 14 minutes was some of the best of the season, yet they went into the half with a 6-point deficit to NIU. The Heels made up for their first half 3-point deficiency in the second, hitting 9 for 13 3-point attempts and outscored NIU with a 34-6 run to start the second half. Guard Cormac Ryan hit 3 3-pointers in the first 4 minutes of the second and sparked the offense for Carolina. UNC ran circles around Northern Iowa toward the end of the game and beat the Panthers 91-69. On Friday, the men's basketball team squared off against Villanova in the semifinals in what was sure to be a thriller. The Heels came out strong, taking a 14-point lead in the first half, but slowly let Villanova back into the game. The team showed flashes of Final Four potential, led by RJ Davis and Harrison Ingram, who both had 20-point games. The game was a back-and-forth battle through the second half, and Notre Dame transfer Cormac Ryan hit a huge three to send the game to overtime. The Tar Heels lost 83-81. In their final matchup of the tourney against Arkansas, Carolina came out firing, putting up a 14-4 lead within 5 minutes. The Razorbacks shot back, going on a 15-4 run to cut the lead down to 3 going into halftime. The Heels continued to be hot in the second, hitting 58% of their field goal attempts. RJ Davis finished with 30 points, tying his career high. The Heels finished out their week in the Bahamas with a win. The Heels now get ready to host number 7 Tennessee on Wednesday in the ACC-SEC Challenge.
The women's basketball team spent the break in the Sunshine State. They played in the Gulf Coast Showcase, and they tried to stay undefeated. The 18th ranked Heels trailed for majority of the game, but pulled out a victory against the Vermont Catamounts. Deja Kelly and Alyssa Utsby led Carolina in scoring, with Kelly having 18 and Utsby scoring 15, and getting her third double-double of the season. Lexi Donarski hit Carolina's first three-pointer less than a minute into the third quarter. Donarski scored both of UNC's three-pointers for the day, as the Tar Heels unfortunately went 2 for 16 from the three-point arch. The Heels closed the game with a 15-3 run, as sophomore Kayla McPherson contributed 6 points with their 54-51 win against Vermont. The Heels improved to 5-0 for the season. In their second matchup of the tourney, Carolina couldn't contain Kansas State's offense. The Wildcats shot 48% from the field, putting up a 10-point lead going into halftime. With the help of Deja Kelly, who scored 14 for the game, the Heels were able to close the gap to just 3 points in the fourth, but ultimately fell 63-56, suffering their first loss of the season. The Tar Heels were fighting for third place against Florida Gulf Coast University to wrap up the weekend in Florida. The Heels were down by 5 at the end of the first quarter, and it was a back-and-forth fight throughout the rest of the game. Deja Kelly led the Heels again with 24 points, and Maria Goddang wasn't too far behind with 22. With just under 6 minutes left, the game was tied. FGCU was up by 1 with 7 seconds left, and Kelly's jumper just couldn't do it. And the Heels fell to the Eagles 65-64. The Heels need to fix things in a hurry, because number 1 South Carolina is coming to town Thursday.
Football might not have beaten State, but another UNC team did. Sophie Watson takes us to the PNC Arena, where Tar Heel ice hockey gained more than just another win.
The Tar Heels secured a spectacular 5-3 victory over the Wolfpack, and goal scorer Patrick O'Shaughnessy shared his thoughts on what was going through his head in those intense final moments.
Not a lot, just pure adrenaline, pure joy. Like, it's a crazy play, a crazy game. Like, yeah, just a sigh of relief. And then when Henry scored that empty netter, yeah, just going nuts, honestly.
The score was tied with 2 minutes left, but the Heels answered 40 seconds later and then sealed the deal with an empty netter in the final seconds. Carolina ice hockey has grown a tremendous amount in recent years and was underscored with North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper dropping the puck and Carolina baseball star Vance Honeycutt serving as the honorary captain.
I started this past summer. I think it's grown tremendously. We see that even at our home games in Hillsborough. Kids are making their way out from UNC, which is awesome. So to see this lower bowl filled for the most part was great. It was a really cool atmosphere to play and coaching.
Carolina ice hockey marked the occasion by unveiling their new uniforms, and there have been discussions about the possibility of constructing a new stadium. Head coach Adam Dowda shared his thoughts on the prospect of a new venue.
We know there's a growing demand for it. The Hurricanes have done a great job of growing hockey in the Southeast here, and I think the rivalry of NC State and UNC and Duke, I think there's a lot of demand for it here, and our guys are doing a great job of playing well on the ice to make people want to come out and watch.
This game was a success for the Tar Heels and also a triumph for ice hockey in the South. Both teams profited approximately $16,000 from this game and gained valuable publicity. The future looks promising for Carolina ice hockey. I'm Sophie Watson reporting.
The Tar Heels don't have another match until January 12th, when they face off against Virginia Tech for their first away game of the new year. The volleyball team wrapped up an up-and-down season on Friday, hoping for one final up against arch-rival Duke in Carmichael Arena. The Tar Heels were coming for revenge after losing in Durham earlier in the season, but they started off rocky and lost the first set. However, they stayed in the match and pushed Duke to a fifth set, winning the fourth with 2 kills from junior Mabry Shatmaster. Despite a late comeback attempt by Duke, UNC held the lead through most of the fifth set and took it 15-12, thanks to an amazing block by graduate Amani Foster and freshman Sydney Nolan. UNC sent the Blue Devils back to Durham with a loss, winning the match 3-2.
Like, we didn't let them tool us, and like we like blocked them several times after that, and like Sydney is so good at blocking at the end. Like obviously she had like 1,700 blocks, but just like blocking them instead of just letting them block us, and like throwing our body on the floor and not just giving up easy plays. And
the Heels finished the season just below 500 at 13-14.
Did you know you don't have to go to Orlando to make dreams come true? UNC Athletics makes dreams come true right here in Chapel Hill. Here's Ashley Humphrey with the proof.
Dreams do come true in Chapel Hill, and UNC Athletics gets to be a part of it. The nonprofit Dream on 3 grants sports dreams to kids with life-altering conditions. This year's Dream Kid is Colburn, and the UNC Dream Team went all out for his Dream Reveal Day. Colburn's reveal included a special visit from Ramses, who played a few rounds of basketball, the entire Dream Team cheering him on, and a new iPad with videos from athletes and coaches from UNC varsity teams.
Congratulations. You are this year's Carolina Dream Kid. Go Heels.
Colburn and his family will meet Hubert Davis and the men's basketball team next semester and attend a game thanks to Dream on 3 and the UNC Dream Team. The collegiate team is comprised of more than 25 UNC students who fundraise for and build relationships with the Dream family, starting with the reveal day.
It's been a really great experience for the rest of the team to see our Dream Kid for this year and know that this is a reality, that all the money that they've raised and all the time they've put in is going to pay off, and I'm super excited. I can't wait for this.
UNC Athletics and Dream on 3 are honored to make dreams like these happen. I'm Ashley Humphrey, reporting.
We'll have to look out for Colburn at the men's basketball games next semester.
Tar Heel Nation didn't have much to cheer about this weekend, but we still had a few good highlights. Here are two contenders for Play of the Week from UNC men's soccer in the NCAA tournament and UNC volleyball against Duke. Here we have Andrew Cortez saving this amazing PK goal right here. See that full extension on the right side of the net. And look at that excitement from Cortez. That says it all for the team. He gets an amazing save, and that does it for UNC soccer. Next, we have UNC volleyball. Mabry Schaffmaster, off the heel of a teammate, gets the dig to help keep the Heels in the game and eventually win the set and win the game against Duke. Caroline, what has impressed you so far with this fall sports season?
I mean, we said it earlier in the show, men's soccer, knock on wood, they've exceeded all of our expectations. I mean, their progression, Andrew Cortez specifically, has improved from freshman year to sophomore year to season right now. And those saves were really amazing and a great win for men's soccer.
Yeah, Caroline, you're right. Those are crucial. And, you know, we've won 2 national championships in 2023, and men's soccer could be a third. As mentioned earlier, the Elite 8 will take place at Dorrance Field on Saturday against Oregon State.
Yep, and that does it for this edition of Sports Extra. Tune in on Friday for a preview of another exciting weekend of Carolina athletics.